A quick disclaimer. I am not sponsored by Silhouette in any way, shape, or form. I have not purchased their advanced versions of Silhouette Studio. I would probably never buy one of their products again after my experience with the Silhouette Cameo Pro. Saying that, I do have days upon days of struggling figuring out how this thing works. So hopefully this is helpful, at least for the print and cut. Hi, I'm Dustin. I'm owner and operator of Northern Ferry Customization here in Ferry Township of Oceana County, Michigan. Today we're going to talk about Silhouette Cameo Pros. There is an issue that's been being pointed out in several forums I have been a part of and am still a part of online about the print and cut feature on them. For some reason, Silhouette does not do print and cut well. They require calibration in order to get what you're looking for. So what we're going to do is we're going to show what it does. I reset mine to factory defaults, and we're going to show what it does with factory settings. And from there, we're going to calibrate it as best as we can. I've always messing with the calibration a little bit, and it keeps getting better and better. So I'm going to have to do that all over again, but we get to learn it together. It can be frustrating. Don't let it get to you. So here we are in Silhouette Studio. This is what I use and what almost everybody uses that I know of with their Silhouette Cameos. So we're going to start over here in the first menu. Open that one up. We're going to go down to Machine. I have a Cameo 4 Pro. Cutting mat, I am going to be using a 12 by 12 inch for this particular demonstration. And media size, I am just going to be using a regular letter piece of paper. So this contains media to cutting mat. We're going to show print border, and we're going to show cut border right there. And sometimes these are not on, so these would be off, more than likely. And this is them on. This is your print and cut registration marks. So I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to click on the page, hit Alt, and use the roller ball on my mouse. The roller ball usually goes up and down, but if you hold Alt, it will zoom in. There are shortcuts for Silhouette Studios. Come in really handy. So with all that done, we're going to just create an image that we can get the idea of how we're going to print and cut. So I'm just going to go over here and create a circle. Standard circle right here. I'm going to hit Shift, click, and then drag. What that's going to do is, no matter what I do with this mouse, it is going to be a circle, a perfect circle. There, perfect. Now I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to put an offset cut on it. Basically, I'm going to make it cut into the center of this, and we'll see if my Cameo Pro will be able to go through this and cut that circle out consistently. This is a problem with the Cameo Pros, them not doing this correctly. So, yeah, actually all the Cameos. So I'm going to go over here to my offset panel, select my object, go to internal offset, and I want to make this internal offset 0, and I'm going to make it red. And I'm going to put my corner limit at 0 and apply. And now I'm going to zoom in here, and you can see we have an internal offset. right in the center of that circle, we have a cut or a line. It's set to 0. It will not print, although the gray will print. And then the cut will be directly in the center of that. So I already have one done in my library, so I'm going to load that. And we'll print this off. Very different spacings and sizes. And we will put through this in the Cameo and see what it does. See you over at the Cameo. All right, so right here we have our cutting mat. This is not a standard cutting mat. It is a standard cutting mat, but it's not a Silhouette brand. So we take off our carrier sheet, set that off to the side. Here's our print that we printed out. You can tell that none of the red was printed. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to align it with the top edge. I'm just going to lay it flat. Now, this mat's really sticky. Sometimes if your mat is less sticky, you really got to press it on. So, we're then going to set up our Silhouette. These have specific uses. I will insert that now from a clip from Silhouette Studios themselves. All right. So now we lift this up. We're going to move this over to our 12-inch cutting mat. Put that down, lever up. Before I turn it on, I'm going to ensure that I have resistance right here. That means my roller is hitting. There's a small wheel underneath this, and it contacts a small wheel in the Silhouette. The wheel in the Silhouette turns, and this just freewheels. So I'm going to turn this on. Now, you can use this. It's an auto blade or a manual blade, whatever you want with it. You just need to set that up in your Silhouette Studio. I'm going to load my media. You want to line it up with this mark right here, the very first one, coming this direction. This mark right here is for your 24-inch mat only. That's the only time you use it is with a 24-inch mat. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to space these out across my media. I will go into my Silhouette Studio and just send it. So what it's doing now is it's reading the registration marks. It's finding this one up here. There we go. I'm going to pause this. And I'm going to cancel it. I had my cutting blade down in the back. Now on the back of your Silhouette Cameo Pros, there is a cutting blade for cutting off your vinyls and anything else that's done. I have a bad tendency of leaving that down. You can always tell because it struggles going through it. That will throw off your cut. So let me apologize for that. But we all learn together like this. All right. Let's try it again now. It's going to once again find the registration marks. Now it's going to cut this out. For some reason, it thinks it's an auto blade. It's not. Now this is going to cut slower. I have this on a speed of 3, just because that's what I usually cut at when it comes to vinyl, especially intricate vinyls. Very intricate vinyls, you want to cut a lot slower. Faster it moves, the more chances are it's going to make the vinyl move. It's not going to cut as precisely. If you have a really sharp blade, it doesn't really matter too much. I don't like wasting vinyl. So this obviously isn't vinyl. This is more of the stickers that you would be doing. And we're almost done here, I think. Just like randomly picking things that it's doing. Now, I know this isn't like a real-time demonstration of what this stuff can do. This is just a piece of paper. I didn't have anything I needed to make today when it came to stickers, or even vinyl. So this is just what I decided to go with. Just going to give you an idea of what it can do and what it will do. As it finishes up here. All right. Exit the mat and we'll see how well it cut. I don't need this paper. It is just paper. So what we'll do is show the issues that the Cameo has. Yeah, I was worried it was going to do this. So what we have here is, I'm sure you can see it, is the gray not being consistent all the way around. It's a common problem with the Silhouette, especially with the Silhouette Cameo Pro. And we're going to try to solve this now. All right, here we are back in Silhouette Studio. What we're going to do here is we're going to go over the calibration menu real quick. So we have our circle with our red line in the middle. The red line is going to be our cut. We're going to go to send. So I always go to line, choose which line I'm going to go ahead and cut. In this case it's going to be the red. I'm using my Oracle 651 setting because it doesn't need to be anything special. It's a force of 5 with a speed of 3. The reason why it keeps doing the auto cut is because I don't have this selected. The auto blade, you know, where it adjusts down, keeps hitting my manual blade against it. So now it won't do that anymore. In order to calibrate, we go down here. We have this right here, picture of my Silhouette. You right click and you go up to calibration. This will get you to the calibration menu. Oh boy, there it goes. So you will put your blade over top this green circle. It will not be present on the sheet you print out. It will scan all 4 of these, and it'll give you a cut. And you just adjust it till it's as close as you can get it. The distance adjustment, same thing. I always just go to distance. I always exit out of calibration and go to distance adjustment. For some reason, it's picky about these things. And what we're going to do here, it's going to measure the distance in between A and B and 1 and 2. And you just use a ruler with centimeters on it and measure it and adjust it to the correct length. It needs to be, so if it's off, like mine usually is, you would adjust it accordingly. Mine is always a 0.9 off. There we go. And that's how you would adjust that from here to here and here to here. All right, so now that we have our calibration all cut out, we're going to put this on our mat. I like to calibrate on the mats that I use, even though this one's extra sticky. Just because if you use a different mat, different brand, who knows what's going to happen there. So this is lined up as best as I can up top. It is what it is down at the bottom. You can see it did go off a little bit up here, so I could peel up and readjust. I might just do that. Now, this mat's extremely sticky. All right. All right. Fold that down. Where it says aligned is we're going to be able to get, I believe. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do this. You load your mat normally. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to travel down to that square area. As long as my blade is over this area, it's going to work, and I'm just going to hit calibrate. And it's going to find each end of that, and it's going to cut. And continue on doing this to each one of these. And I will be back as soon as this is done. All right. Well, we'll see what we got here. All right. Not sure how well you can see this, but we are off. We're a little bit up, and we're a little bit over to the left. What we're going to do is we're going to measure that. It's probably, oh, let me see here. All right, sorry about that. I had to stretch to get that. We're probably not very far off at all, but it's just throwing it off just a little bit. millimeters. And it's showing like 0.5 millimeters. That one's on. This one's a little bit off. Not even 0.5. So I'll adjust that over on the calibration screen. So now I printed off this again. And we're going to line it back up. A little bit better job than what I did the first time, hopefully. And I'm just going to run that same calibration again. I'm going to load our mat. I'll run it all the way down and all the way back just to make sure this time that we're completely lined up. We are. And I'm just going to do the same thing. You put it over this little area that it shows you on the screen. And you hit calibrate on your computer. Well, some people will use pens for these. I'm just going to go to certain. Let me see here. We are dead on right here, and we're closer on the side to side now. That is really, really good. Makes me feel good. Load this back up. We're going to do another one. Now, these mat supports do get in the way. I do kind of curl this up when I put it in it. Put that in there. I'm just going to choose a random one that we had problems with last time. I believe this was one of them. I already threw it away, but I believe this was one of them. All right. Looks like we're still a little bit up and over to the left. I don't know if you can see that. I'm not too worried about the up too much, but because it's still on the line. We're just barely on the line straight up and down though. And left to right we are high too. So I'm going to adjust that real time. I'm going to load this back in. All right, we're going to go find this again, and I'm just going to repeat this until it starts cutting perfect. And if you want to watch me continue doing this, make a comment. Otherwise, I'm just going to skip over it. All right, and so at this point, I have All right. At this point, I have pretty darn good. Don't think I'm gonna get much better than that. So what I'm gonna do next is I will go ahead and try that circles again. We have our mat. Once again, we have our circles. We're gonna go ahead and load it. All right. It's on my mat. Super well stuck as usual. I'm gonna load it up. And I am going to cut it. When you do this, you want to make sure that it's actually getting the registration marks, because it can not register. Once again, for some reason, it thinks it's an auto blade. It's not even set on auto blade, so I don't know why it's doing that. Probably because I don't have manual blade selected. And we're just going to let this cut. All right. So now let's check our cuts. We already see a huge, huge improvement. Look at this. Right down here, we do have a little bit off, but that's definitely workable with. So that looks like it needs to be moved down and down just a little bit more. Now that could be just the adjustment for a different adjustment. I'm going to run the machine and see if my lengths are correct. But we are already making huge, huge, huge improvement on cutting that circle in the circle. I'm going to run the length adjustment and show you the results. So right now, looks like we're just a little bit high, and I don't think that's the machine's fault.
I made a funny.
The calibration's fault. We're cutting directly in the center right here, directly in the center right here, so side to side. We are good. Up and down, we are good. It's just when we get down here, we're a little bit off. So what that shows me is that on the calibration screen, or on the calibration menu, we have the calibration for length and width. The blade travel. So I'm wondering if that's off. I bet you that's it. That's how you calibrate your Silhouette. Especially these Cameo Pros. They are known for having these issues. And you want to make sure to calibrate it with the mat that you are going to use if you're not using a regular Silhouette mat. And make sure to use it with the blade that you're going to use. I always find it best. Some people use pens. It works for them. It doesn't for me.
Many hours later.
Why did I choose to do a video about this?
Early the next morning.
Well, that was fun. Still not quite right, but I got a bag of confetti. I'll post a picture at the end here showing you my final result on how close I get it. It just takes time. It can be very frustrating. I have a little bit of patience, so I work it out. Thank you for watching.